The theater lights dim, the crowd hums, and before anything even happens, let me ask you something. Have you ever watched a moment that made you stop scrolling, stop breathing, and think, this is why I love music? Because if you've ever believed in underdogs, in hidden talent, in dreams that survive doubt, you're in the right place. And before this story ends, if it moves you even a little, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay with us, because stories like this deserve to be heard. He stood alone at center stage, a thin Filipino teenager with slightly trembling hands and shoes that looked a little too worn for a stage this grand. His name was Miguel Santos, 17 years old, and he had traveled more than 7,000 miles to stand in front of the most intimidating judges' table in the world. The audience barely noticed him at first. He didn't look like a star. No flashy jacket, no dramatic entrance. Just a shy smile, deep breath, and eyes scanning the massive theater as if he was asking himself how he even got here. Simon Cowell leaned back in his chair, arms crossed, already guarded. He'd seen thousands of auditions, heard every imitation imaginable. Elvis Presley covers were common and almost always disappointing. When Simon asked Miguel who inspired him, Miguel swallowed hard and said softly that his father used to sing Elvis songs every night after work. The words came out carefully, as if saying them too loudly might make them disappear. Miguel explained that he grew up in a small coastal town in the Philippines, where money was scarce but music was everywhere. His father worked long hours as a fisherman, coming home exhausted, sunburned, and smelling of salt. But no matter how tired he was, he'd pick up an old radio, tune it just right, and let Elvis fill the house. That was how Miguel learned English, learned melody, learned how pain and hope could live in the same note. When his father passed away suddenly 2 years earlier, the house went quiet, but the music never left Miguel. The judges nodded politely, but the skepticism lingered. The crowd shifted in their seats. This was America's Got Talent, after all. Dreams were welcomed, but expectations were ruthless. Miguel closed his eyes as the music began, the opening notes of an Elvis classic echoing softly through the hall. And then he sang. The first note didn't just land, it stunned. The softness of his voice carried a depth that felt impossible for someone so young. It wasn't an imitation. It wasn't a gimmick. It was warm, aching, and real. Conversations stopped mid-whisper. Phones lowered. Even Simon's eyebrows lifted slightly, almost against his will. As Miguel continued, something extraordinary happened. His voice grew stronger, richer, filled with a controlled power that wrapped around every word. He didn't just sing like Elvis, he understood the emotion behind the song. The loneliness. The longing. The love that never quite fades. Tears welled in the eyes of people who hadn't expected to feel anything at all. Miguel's mind drifted as he sang. He wasn't on the AGT stage anymore. He was back home, sitting on the wooden floor, listening to his father hum along, feeling safe. Each note was a conversation with the man he'd lost, a promise that the music would carry their story forward. His hands stopped shaking. His voice soared. By the final chorus, the audience was completely silent, hanging on every breath. When Miguel hit the last note, holding it just long enough to make hearts ache, the room exploded. The crowd leapt to their feet. Applause thundered from every corner. Some people cried openly. Others laughed in disbelief, shaking their heads as if trying to wake from a dream. The judges stood. All of them. And then Simon Cowell, the man known for his brutal honesty, slowly stepped forward. He looked at Miguel for a long moment before speaking. When he finally did, his voice was softer than anyone expected. He admitted that he hadn't believed it was possible to hear something new in an Elvis song, but Miguel had proven him wrong. He said that what they'd just witnessed wasn't just talent, it was truth. And that kind of voice, Simon said, couldn't be taught. Miguel covered his mouth, overwhelmed. Tears streamed down his face as the judges praised not just his voice, but his courage. They talked about the sacrifices, the distance traveled, the strength it took to stand there alone. When the votes came in, it was unanimous. For yes. A ticket to the next round. A dream suddenly real. Backstage, Miguel sank onto a bench, shaking not from fear this time, but from joy. He called his mother, voice breaking as he told her what happened. On the other end of the line, she cried too, thanking him for honoring his father's memory. In that moment, Miguel understood something powerful. Success wasn't just about winning a show. It was about proving to yourself that your voice matters. As the episode ended, the camera lingered on Miguel's smile, still shy, still humble, but now glowing with belief. Millions of viewers around the world felt it. The reminder that greatness can come from anywhere. That talent doesn't need permission. That sometimes, the quietest kid on the stage carries the loudest story. And maybe that's why this audition mattered so much. Because it wasn't just about a Filipino teen singing Elvis. It was about a dream crossing oceans. About love surviving loss. About music reminding us who we are. If this story touched you, if it made you believe a little more in impossible dreams, show your support by liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and sharing it with someone who needs hope today. Because you never know, your encouragement might be the reason the next hidden voice finally steps into the light.